and one day there's going to be compensation. Some people say that they should wake up on their own if they're, but they can't. I couldn't. I didn't wake up on my own.
But you did.
I got kicked out. That's the only reason why I woke up.
You knew that you were heading, and in a sense, even though you were scared, the thing that took you by surprise was when your mum kicked you out.
The people are just stuck. They've got no idea. Oh, hang on.
Hi.
No.
We're talking about truthfulness.
She just starts the video.
No, Renee does that to me usually.
No,
this is a safe place. I'm Tina and this is Renee whinging.
She just started the video.
She's trying to deflect, and I think I have actually forgotten what we were going to talk about. Oh, no, I haven't. So when we're a trauma victim, and this goes for any type of trauma, one of the impacts that could be felt by survivors of trauma is that we almost become trapped by the impact of our trauma. So it's funny, Renee and I are in a bit of a similar place at the moment. My healing business, I'm reevaluating my direction because I'm not sure where I'm meant to be with it. And Renee and I were just sitting here talking, and she feels similarly with where she's at, which she mentioned and touched upon in the last video of she's taken on this activism and this journey to support and help and nurture other people who are ex-JWs, and to let them know they're not alone and that they're doing okay, and she does a wonderful job. But she does such a wonderful job of it that she's been asked to speak at different things and organise things, and it's now almost like she's starting to feel a little bit trapped by that, but not in a bad way, just being trapped by that. And it's like, well...
Says who?
You did before I started the camera.
Trapped is not the word I used.
Oh, sorry, semantics. What word did you use, Renee?
I don't think I said it that way.
How did you say it? Talk it through, because you are very lost.
I didn't put my hand up. No, sorry, wasn't asked. I put my hand up. I put my hand up to... Okay, the speech thing I was asked. That's nice. That's great. That's fine because it's only going to last. That's fine. I've put my hand up for helping a protest in November in Melbourne.
Which is amazing.
Which is amazing, but it's...
terrifying.
Terrifying. Yeah. So maybe I'm just trying to avoid work, that's all.
No, it's not avoiding work. It's putting yourself out there. Renee's always been very shy about being an ex-JW, even though she's created a page. It's been a very big journey for her. And sometimes when we undertake that journey, it can become overwhelming at times, and we question where we are, where we're going, and do we feel safe still, I think, sometimes.
Having said that, I strongly recommend everybody write their story. I strongly recommend everybody do it, because
sharing stories is vital.
Is massive for me. Was massive, and your story deserves to be heard.
And if you do it on valuable.
And if you do it on YouTube, there's so many others, and don't say to yourself, oh, it's already been explained. Add to it, because that is the massive volume of work that is required. The body of work.
But it's not that it's already been explained. No one's explained it using your voice, and everyone's voice and experience is uniquely different. So each of our voices, even though we might say exactly the same words, we impact and touch different people who needed to hear it from us. Every story is valid, even if it is exactly the same as someone else's. Not that it ever could be, but...
Yeah, so I strongly would recommend people to do it. It does help you.
Absolutely. So
and not once. You have to tell it a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the repetition. James W. Pennebaker has done a lot of research on writing and healing, and he suggests that 20 minutes a day for 4 days in a row on the one thing is enough to really shift your perceptions of that trauma or that incident. So Renee's smiling there because she's successfully navigated away from her situation, so I'm just going to drag it back there. So you today you're seeming very lost, and it's sort of like you're in transition as well. So not necessarily feeling trapped, but sometimes our healing worlds take on a life of their own, and it's hard to catch up or stay up with it, or question, is this really where I want to be? Is this what I want to do?
Look, I'll be honest and truthful.
Well, this is going to be a rare thing. No. Let's make the most of this moment. Renee, she usually deflects or minimises.
I was going to say that I must be in a stage of transition or something's going on, because I'm having so many panic attacks. That's my body telling me that
That you're not okay.
I'm not settled.
You're not
Isn't that
safe.
terrible? I
No.
feel very vulnerable saying this, by the way.
But truth is vulnerable. When you step out into truth, you're always being vulnerable because you're revealing your soul to people, but that's where the magic and the beauty lies. That's also the healing and the courage.
I get panic attacks when I'm asleep even. I get them when I'm in with people. I have to walk away. I get them when I'm driving. I can use, I often am able to use music when I'm driving to calm my farm.
I think it's a strong sign that
not
something's
well.
not right in your world. Exactly right. So you might all remember, those of you that watch our videos regularly, I know there are a couple of people that watch all of them.
And here I am, I feel like a doofus because here I am supposed to be trying to help other people, but I guess that's where the authenticity comes out. That
it does help people. Truth and honesty helps people more than people who know stuff. So you'll remember that last time we were shooting videos, I was in a real heaviness and quite a dark place, and that stayed with me, but I knew I was transitioning into a different place in my life, so I was fine with trusting the process and letting it happen. And as a result of that transition, I've come to a point where I am surrendering. So I've surrendered my life to service. And basically what that means, it's based on Michael A. Singer's work, but I sort of came to it on my own. And I'm now reading that to realise I've been there for a few years already. And it's just accepting that I'll get signs from the universe that I need to trust. And one of those is if something's not sitting well with me, it means that it's not conducive to my growth or to my situation, and I think it's important then that we don't do those things. So there's something causing you this unsettledness. Do you have any idea what it might be? Be honest, because that's where people learn and gain most value.
I think there's several factors. I think it's part of coming out of it's my history, my whole history.
Yeah, so put it into a nutshell for people. You said there's many factors, so what are they?
One is history. Your history, so one, just to make it clear, is history.
To leave the aggression out of her tone, because she's a bit angry.
So when you've had traumatic events, no matter what they were, I don't have to go through them. But if you have traumatic events, they're going to revisit. Number two is, I think you build a narrative in your head of what you think about yourself. So I think if you have that narrative is replaying bad things about you, that's gonna... What was the question?
Can't remember, but keep going. You're talking about the different aspects of your life that are making you feel unsettled.
Oh yeah, unsettled. And so then you doubt yourself. So even though I'm totally competent at my job, and I know psychologically I'm competent at my job, I doubt that I can do a good job. And I hate that because there's people that rely on me. So I need to be able to, at work, they do. They do.
No, I've just moved beyond that, where people, if they rely on you, that's not on you, that's on them. We're all responsible for our own things. These people you're referring to are adults.
No,
they shouldn't be relying on you. They're self-sufficient.
I'm head of a department, and there's people that... I'm not trying to put tickets on myself. You're making me sound like but I do. There's people that rely...
You might be feeling that way, but that's your response.
Affect the running of my department. And so...
everyone's actions affect the running of your department.
Anyway, so not feeling competent in your job, even though you might be...
Really have
doubting yourself. So 1, 2, 3, doubting yourself. And then I think also diet. I think you have to be careful about how you treat your body and look after your body and your health. I think that can trigger those 4 things all together. They all add to make you feel unsettled.
Mm. So how do you change that, Renee?
Well, you've got one option of sitting and doing nothing about it, which is probably what I've been doing for ages. Another option is to write a book. I've tried that. And I've got it all out, and that was massive help. That was huge. But I don't know, it's like you know what, there's stuff about this out there. You're programmed. You have to reprogram, I guess. You have to reprogram your head and who you are and how you feel.
And how do you do that, Renee?
A lobotomy probably is the easiest way to go.
And so for our next video, I will get the knives out.
How do you reprogram?
How are you going to reprogram yourself?
I don't know. Do I need to move on and let this stuff go? And I'm looking away from the camera because I feel bad saying it, but is that part of it? How do I reprogram? I don't know how I reprogram. How do I reprogram? I have to change the narrative in my head. I probably have to say things to myself.
Like positive affirmations?
Yeah, every day.
It's about sticking to it, you know, because you've started that before, and you started gratitude before, and all those things that can change our neuropsychology and quite effectively change it if we practice it.
Or the easiest thing would be, not the easiest, the best thing would be if my family came out of the cult.
No.
And we'd all...
No, because you've got to do this on your own.
And we'd all join forces again and ta-da.
See,
I don't think the problem would be solved anyway.
No,
I don't even know them. I don't even know them.
I think you're getting to that
years,
point where you're hitting on the button, though.
I don't even know them.
And it's not about feeling disillusioned. It's feeling like with the whole thing, it's about you wanting to belong to your family, and you are hoping that all of this work would bring them out, and it hasn't. And so you're feeling like, sure, I've helped all these other people, but my family are still there and this isn't helping them. In fact, if anything, it's driving a wedge that's deeper between them. I think you need to surrender control. And that includes surrendering that idea of belonging to your family. But that's very easy for me to say. It's significantly more difficult to manifest into reality. But I think that's your issue.
How sad is it that we're in this? How sad. How sad.
But again, that's a part
this
of
is
trauma.
This is a historical record. This is my record that how traumatized I was. And one day there's going to be compensation. There's going to be compensation for all the pain that we've been through. This is me just wishful thinking. One day it will be
compensation.
Just like child sexual abuse. Yeah, no, well, not. I don't care about money, but just of somebody getting in trouble and going to court for having caused
this. Nobody gets in trouble. George Pell's not in trouble. He's appealing. Like that magistrate said he'd led a blameless life. There's no justice. The justice has to come from within.
All our work, this is me wishing, okay? Or one day all our work will go, authorities will go, well, shunning is illegal, it's damaging, all the studies are done, it's traumatizing. They're going to go back through all my records, see how traumatized I was, and they're going to take whoever's responsible to court. And I'm going to be able to say how hurt I was, and then they're going to say we're sorry. They're going to get fined. I don't want money. Just fine them. And then
I think you'll find that's not the magic pill that you want, because that doesn't work. You've got to find peace within yourself, within your soul. And it can't be reliant on external factors.
And I don't mean my family. I don't want my family to be hurt. I just mean the people responsible, because it's not my family that's the problem. My family is just a victim. My family members are just victims. Obviously, they're in it. Some people say that they should wake up on their own if they're, but they can't. I couldn't. I didn't wake up on my own.
But you did.
I got kicked out. That's the only reason why I woke up. I would still be in it right now. No.
Yeah, but you did get kicked out.
No different.
But you engaged in behaviours that you knew were going to get you kicked out. It's not like you didn't do that
consciously.
No,
I didn't think it was going to kick me out, to be honest.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
you wrote in your book that you did, and you spoke to me about it. You did. You knew that you were heading, and in a sense, even though you were scared, the thing that took you by surprise was when your mum kicked you out. Being kicked out of the congregation, you expected that, you wanted that. Yeah, you did, dude. Read your book.
I've changed my mind, all right?
You can change your mind, but it doesn't mean that you're right.
I don't think so, no. I was just a kid. And not only was I was 21. You're going to say, oh, you were 21. But I was such an infantile at that age.
But most people who go through trauma are, because you get stuck as a child.
Okay, so I was a child and all that happened. I had no idea what was
happening.
grow
up and become an adult until I was in my 30s.
And the only reason why I woke up is because I got out of it for a few years. It took me years to wake up. So there's no way my family can wake up. They are victims. That's why we need to, all our work, we're all aiming it at the because the people are just stuck. They've got no idea.
So again, you've managed to deflect, but what you said is relevant. How do you move forward from where you're feeling today? What is the real issue for you?
I don't know. Do I need to let go that I have to save my family? Have I been doing all this to save my family? I've been doing all this to save my family.
I think so too, and I think you're feeling a bit demoralised because it hasn't worked. And you've given it 2 years and it hasn't changed anything. And then it's been a year of the Facebook group and all that stuff and it still hasn't changed it. They haven't come back to you. I think you've got to deal with the grief of the loss of your family, to be honest. I think maybe that's the next healing part for you.
I can't believe it.
It's sad. It's sad that you have to. It's not sad that you it's just sad. But trauma does break up families, and I think that's significant. Because there's always going to be one person. I'm sure many of you have experienced it, families where there's arguments over something, whether it did actually happen or not in terms of sexual or physical abuse. And then in terms of this, if someone decides that a religion is no longer for them and leaves that religion, especially one that does have quite strict controls, or it seems to in Renee's case, you've then got to grieve the loss of your family, and that's hard because that's what anchors us in this lifetime, is our family. And so losing that, I think, to be honest with you, I think it's another layer of the healing process you have to go through, and that's the grief of the family loss. And I don't know that you've ever actually...
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to give up.
No, it's not about giving up, but it's accepting where it is.
Can you believe it? Like, it's just unbelievable.
It's sad. There are so many fractured families in our society.
So if you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness and...
Or a current Jehovah's Witness who's thinking to move out, what advice would you give them?
Gosh, that's a whole nother video.
Isn't it? Well, let's do that. So we're going to go and we're going to sign off on that now. Yep.
Let's recap, because
it's been all over the place.
How did it
You're
start?
watching Renee unfold. That's what's happening. Renee's peeling back the layers and unfolding as we watch. So it started with Renee feeling a bit lost and us trying to work out why.
And I'm lost, I guess, because like you said, I haven't met my goal.
Yeah.
Trying to save my family.
Yeah. So this is a safe place. Please subscribe, share if you feel called to. We really appreciate that you've watched.
Bye.